So good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first day of webinar Navigating SolidWorks Portfolio. Today, we're going to present about Dassault System, our new partner in Kenya, ADCC, and SolidWorks 3D CAD portfolio. So I want to remind you that we will have one more webinar tomorrow at same time, and that at the end of both webinars, we will answer your questions. So we are waiting for your questions in chat. Feel free to write them whenever you want. And at the end of the day, we will answer it. So focus for today will be 3D CAD portfolio, and tomorrow we'll talk about 2D CAD solution, drop side, and our simulation tools. So with that, I'm giving mic to our manager in South Africa, Marius, and he will present himself and Dassault System.
Yes, thank you, Azamat. So good morning, all. It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for putting the time aside to join us today. My name is Marius Estreize. I am based in South Africa, and I am the territory sales manager for all the English-speaking African countries. So I take care of the SolidWorks portfolio and brand for Dassault Systems. And as you'll see in the presentation now, there's 12 different brands within the organization. So SolidWorks is just one of those brands, and I head up the brand for the African continent in conjunction with my technical partner, Jaco Jansen van Rensburg, who will introduce himself a little bit later in more detail. So I'll share my screen. So just bear with me for a second while I go into presenters mode. And the purpose of my presentation today will just be to give you a better understanding of who Dassault Systems is and what the SolidWorks brand is all about. Maybe just quick confirmation from Jaco. Can you see full screen view?
Perfect, Marius.
Okay, thank you. So I'll occupy you for probably the next 15 minutes, guys and ladies. So please indulge me as I take you through a short 15-minute presentation, just to give you a better understanding of who we are as an organization, what we do, and how we do it. So the question is, who are we? And we didn't just stick these numbers up to impress you. We want to instill a notion, an idea with you that we've been around for a long time. You're not our first customers. We are very loyal to our customers, and we've got a long-standing history. So when doing business with Dassault Systems and the SolidWorks brand, it is an established organization and it is an established brand. That being said, some of you may have heard of SolidWorks as a solution, but not necessarily of Dassault Systems. Or perhaps the other way around, where some of you have heard of Dassault Systems, but not SolidWorks. So just to clear those two topics up, Dassault Systems is the name of the holding company, and SolidWorks is one of 12 brands under the Dassault Systems umbrella. Of those 12 brands, it's important to know that SolidWorks contributes to almost 30% of Dassault Systems revenue. So it's a very important part of the business for us. Dassault Systems as a company is over 40 years old, and we employ over 20,000 people with international offices across the globe, as you can see there, in almost every country you can imagine. The headquarters of Dassault System is in France, and we've got approximately 26 million commercial users of our software currently. We sell our SolidWorks solutions to you as our end customers through an indirect business model. And what we mean with the indirect business model is that we sell our software solutions through value-added resellers. And these value-added resellers are local in-country specialists who know the local market, they understand the local challenges, they understand the local trends, And today we have the pleasure to announce to you ADCC, who is one of our East African value-added resellers and also our latest addition to our partner ecosystem. So on this slide, here you can see the 12 different brands supported within Dassault Systems. I'm not going to be talking about the other brands today. Yaku, myself, and Azamat all work for the SolidWorks brand, so that will be the primary focus of today. But whilst we're still on the topic of the company, Dassault Systems, for you to just get a better understanding of the breadth of the solutions that we bring to our customers, the various industries that we can serve, I want to take you to the next slide that shows clearly 11 different industries within which Dassault Systems portfolio play. And it's not to say it's all SolidWorks, it's a blend of the different brands that we support under the Dassault Systems umbrella. So often when I do this presentation to customers, I get asked during one-on-one breaks, what differentiates us, Dassault Systems, and our solutions from other applications? And I just always refer back to this slide by saying the short answer is that we draw our differentiation from the diverse industries that we serve, because each of these industries have got very specific and unique requirement that pushes the boundaries of our solutions right up to its end. So it's very important for us to ensure that there is interoperability between all our solutions in our portfolio, irrespective of the brand. And there's 12 different brands under the umbrella. So this allows us to provide end-to-end digital manufacturing solutions that can support our customers all the way from a concept phase all the way through to manufacturing. And that's what's differentiating us from other applications. And just to give you an idea again of some of the customers, the bigger customers, OEM type of customers that we serve within these 11 industries, there are some familiar names on the screen here that may be familiar to you. But before you draw the conclusion to say, but these are all large companies, we're not necessarily part of that, I want to put you at ease by saying to you that over 90% of our SolidWorks business comes from the small and medium enterprise sectors. So the majority of the customers we sell our SolidWorks portfolio and solutions to are actually companies within the supply chain of these larger organizations. So the message that I want to convey with this slide is that our solutions are very much scalable, and it doesn't really matter whether you are a small company requiring only one seat of SolidWorks or whether you're a large OEM organization with hundreds of seats of SolidWorks. It's a very scalable portfolio we have. So now that you've got a better idea of the company, Dassault Systems, who we are, the industries that we serve, I just want to zoom in a little bit on the SolidWorks brand and show you again a few numbers that talks only to SolidWorks. So what is it that we do through our SolidWorks? One of the main things that we do and we've got a passion for is creating a workforce for the future. So over 33,000 academic institutes around the world are using SolidWorks in their curriculum today. This means that more than 10 million students are trained on SolidWorks every year. Now, through this effort, we are actually making students more employable to the 300,000 commercial companies out there that's already using SolidWorks. And for companies, this is very inspiring that we do so, because we are helping them employ skilled SolidWorks resources that enters the job market. So it's good for the end customer. They get a resource that already hits the ground running, already upskilled, and it's very good for job creation, securing a student's future by making themselves very much employable by the companies out there, of which there are already 300,000 companies worldwide using SolidWorks. To support us in this venture, we've got various different programs, and I won't go into detail on each of these programs. There's a lot of content that sits behind each of these, but from early ages, we already have programs for kids, and it's called Apps for Kids. You can even go and look it up and Google it and look it up on the Dassault System or SolidWorks.com website, and you will see that there's a range of applications available for children between the ages of 4 and 13 to help them understand 3D and get their creative juices going in creating enthusiasm within them to want to go and study disciplines like engineering. We also work closely with students and learners. So with that, we mean primary schools, secondary schools, TVET colleges, universities, and we've got dedicated programs with built-in curriculum material that we use to make sure that when those students enter the job market, it is very much related and synchronized with what is expected in the commercial industrial environment out there. The same applies for research organizations. We've got dedicated solutions and price points for research organizations. And if you're a startup or you're a hobbyist or you're a maker or you're an entrepreneur, and you've got your endeavors to start something up, you haven't necessarily got investors yet, you have the vision to design something with the idea to manufacture that and go into the market, we've got dedicated programs to help you start that dream. And through sponsorships of various tiers for the first 3 years that we support you in up to a point for you to get onto your feet, get investors, get your product to market, be successful, and then walking that journey with you. So through all of these different programs, that they're all very unique, tailored for their specific audiences, we don't just sell to commercial customers. We actually start from 4-year-old children all the way through to makers, hobbyists, and entrepreneurs. So if you feel that someone you know falls within this category and wants to know more, please connect with us as well. And then this slide is probably fresh and new for most of you, but some of you may have been around in 1995, and that's when SolidWorks as a CAD solution got introduced to the market. Today, we find ourselves in 2023. It's not as if nothing happened between 2018 and 2023. The slide is just not necessarily updated. The point I want to make here is that since 1995, starting with pure SolidWorks as a CAD solution, we've introduced more than 20 different products in our SolidWorks desktop portfolio. So with those solutions in our portfolio, which can be seen on this very next slide, we can support you all the way through from conceptual design to detailed design to manufacturing. And often within mechanical and electrical design, these two components run concurrently, and there's a requirement for these different departments to work in an unsiloed environment and work together, and we've got solutions for that. The moment we talk about designing stuff, whether it's mechanical or electrical, there's data being generated, and that data needs to be managed, it needs to be communicated, it needs to be shared, and we've got solutions for data management as well. And my colleague Jaco will be elaborating on some of those solutions a little bit later. Simulation, or another word for it is optimization or validation, is important. It's important that early on in the design phase already we make the best decision with regards to the material choices, the configuration that we use, so that we don't end up doing a lot of physical prototypes that's time consuming and costly, but that we rather fail digitally many times instead of failing physically. So we have a lot of validation and simulation tools, whether it's structural simulation, whether it's plastic injection, plastic simulation, or whether it is CFD, flow simulation capability you're after. And then the same for communicating. I mean, if we design stuff, we validate and optimize stuff for over-engineering, under-engineering, etc. We still need to communicate all of those to our end customers, to the guys on the shop floor putting the end product together. And for that, we have a whole range of solutions that helps you render your design, communicate your design intent to stakeholders for the purpose of marketing material, for brochures, to make sure that if it gets to physical prototyping, that we can do first article inspection and ballooning, that we are in a position to do product manuals and assembly instructions, and even CAM solutions within our portfolio when it gets to the actual manufacturing and machining component. So Jaco will cover some of this today. Some of our other product specialists will cover the simulation and draft side topics tomorrow. But the purpose here is just to say to you that although we won't be covering all the solutions in the next 2 days, we have a full range of 20 solutions within our desktop SolidWorks portfolio that covers the whole digital prototyping story, from concept phase all the way through to manufacturing. And I'll wrap it up by saying, doing business with Dassault Systems and SolidWorks is easy in the sense that we've got different options available to our customers, because we believe in the saying, different strokes for different folks, and what works well for one customer may not necessarily work well for somebody else. So the 2 options we have available within our desktop portfolio when somebody's interested in purchasing our SolidWorks software solutions is either a perpetual license, which is typically funded from a CapEx budget. It requires a higher upfront down payment, the license component, and then there's an annual upkeep of a subscription or a maintenance, but it requires a higher upfront commitment, and typically this is funded from a CapEx budget. The second option that some customers prefer is more a pay-per-use type of rental subscription model, where the cost of entry is lower upfront, but it is a recurring annual payment that needs to happen. So there's benefits for both of those, and some customers prefer the one over the other. A term license or a rental pay-per-use model is typically funded from an operational expenditure and OPEX budget. So depending on your preferences within your organizations, we've got different options available and that applies to all the solutions within our desktop portfolio. So we're not prescriptive to customers, but we help our customers make the best decisions based on their own requirements and preferences. And with that being said, I thank you for the 15 minutes or so that you allowed me to give you a high-level understanding of who Dassault Systems is, the brands we support, the industries we serve, the SolidWorks brand itself, that there's a big ecosystem out there. So you're not alone when you buy into the world or the brand of SolidWorks. There's a big ecosystem of support as and when required, and that we try and be very flexible in the way we provide our offers to our customers. So with that being said, thank you very much. I'm going to exit the presenter mode and stop sharing, and then hand over to Ivy, who is representing ADCC, our latest addition to our value-added reseller channel in East Africa. ADCC is based in Kenya, and I've asked Ivy to prepare a 5 or 10 minutes overview of who ADCC is, what they offer, and the people they employ that eventually will be the interface between you as our customers and us as the software editors. Ivy, so with that, over to you. If you don't mind unmuting yourself, feel free to share your camera if you so please, and share your screen for your session, please.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Ivy.
Can you hear me?
You. We can.
Good. So my name is Ivy, and my colleague Brian will be sharing the screen. Good. So I'm hoping everyone can see my screen.
We can, yes. Please
Just
proceed.
a confirmation on text. Good.
Yes,
yes. ADCC International East Africa is a software company. ADCC stands for Advanced Computer Center. ADCC was founded in 1997 with the aim to cater to the rapidly changing technology world then. And slowly, it was started in India and it slowly ventured into other technologies and was a key part in geospatial systems. ADCC then left or moved to Kenya in 2013, which is when it was incorporated. And as we started in 2013, we got into an alliance with Autodesk. And for the period 2014-2015, we were able to become one of the top resellers for Autodesk and became an authorized training center. In 2016, we became a software platform for e-commerce. We had one. And as time progressed, we became a single-stop software shop. We, in 2020-2021, we got into an agreement with Ziggurat University on BIM solutions. We became also an Autodesk premium reseller alongside Topcon. And from 2022 to date, we have incorporated SolidWorks as part of our portfolio, which is where we are currently. Next slide. So ADCC is in six major areas. We have geospatial solutions. We are in water. We have ventured into energy, into building, into data acquisition, and software. For geospatial solutions, we have a cadastre where we have done georeferencing. We have done resource mapping. We have done municipal GIS along other sites. And as part of a parent company, we have achieved over 20,000 square kilometers in mapping and over 9,000 kilometers in road surveying. For water solutions, we have been in consultancy for water and sewage companies. We have done SCADA. We have over 2.5 million consumers who have been tapped to the grid. This is in India, I must emphasize. And then for energy, we have over 45,000 kilometers of network survey being done by ADCC. And for the building solution, sorry, just a minute. For building solutions, we have done both CAD and BIM solutions. To date, we've done over 1,500 shop drawings and done over 1,000 conversions from 2D to 3D CAD, which is the future of engineering, if you were to ask me. And we have done also data acquisition in surveys. We are the authorized reseller for Topcon in terms of calibration and solution. repairs and maintenance. In fact, within our premises, we have a service center. We are also the authorized training center for Autodesk, for CAD learning, for BIM, and also looking forward to becoming a training center for SolidWorks. In consultancy, ADCC has, as mentioned, been in building information modeling. We are doing surveys, we have done drafting, we have draftsmen on site. We do designs and we also do construction. Now, our key clientele in Kenya include H-Young, which is an engineering firm. We have worked mostly with the government. We've worked with Kura, we've worked with Ketraco, we've worked with Kenha, we've worked with hospitals. Essentially, we have a footprint both in the public and private sectors. On top of that, for our software solutions, we have a wide range of products. We offer SolidWorks, which we are getting into or have gotten into a partnership recently. As mentioned earlier, we are gold partners for Autodesk. We have Bentley, we have Kaspersky, literally any SolidWorks, any software solution you would require, ADCC is ready to offer you. I really would just want to thank you everyone for joining us today. And we look forward to being the best service provider you could ask for. Thank you. I will hand over to Azamat, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Ivy, and thanks for presentation. We are continuing and we are going on with presentation of our engineer, Yako, who will present you about our 3D CAD solutions. And I'm reminding you that you can write your questions in chat, and at the end of presentation, we will answer them.
Thank you, Azamat. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Yaku. I'm also based in South Africa, together with Marius. So I'm the technical manager that oversees all the activities in the Africa English region. So without further ado, I'm going to start my presentation. Please, guys, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So, yeah, so I'm not going to go into much detail on this slide deck. Pretty much it was explained by Marius. It's just what is our portfolio about, that we are not just a CAD house. We supply software to all different supplementary software for our CAD, but our main focus, however, will remain our CAD product. So SolidWorks CAD tool are the result of 20 years of development and the feedback of over 2 million users. SolidWorks Mechanical, our core product, has proven itself through its intuitive user experience, so to be up to the challenge of many industry. We know that many of the current employ a 2D-based design approach, and we have a rich sheet of tools to reuse that data. So before we go into further presentations, I want to show you what this is about. So I'm going to open up my SolidWorks desktop interface, and as you can see, once I open up SolidWorks, this will be my interface. So I've got a request from one of my engineers that I need to change some of the parts on this model over here. So I'm just going to show you some basic features and functionalities for SolidWorks in today's presentation. So I'm just going to drag this assembly then back into my SolidWorks window. So pretty much what I want to do, I wanted to show you guys that on the footing of this part, there's a base plate. I've got the instructions that I want to reduce the weight on this. So this is pretty much our SolidWorks interface. So the whole idea for the idea behind designing in SolidWorks is to pretty much start from your left-hand side and then work your way through to the right-hand side. So the most common features and functions that we'll be needing will be on your left-hand side. and then the lesser used ones will be then on the right. So as you can see, this is my current model. So I want to focus on this part today. I want to change this. So, but before I change the weight, I want to show you guys the interactiveness between my actual CAD files and my drawing files. So I want to create a new drawing for this base plate. I'm just going to select the default template for that. And I want to just give me a second. This one over here. I want to use those base plates. So when I bring up that window, I can then decide what view do I want as a default. So let's select this as my default view, and I will just drag it over to the screen. And as I move my cursor then to the left or to the right, I can then create additional drawing views on that. So from here on, I can then start annotating, put on dimensions, basic normal CAD dimensions on there. I can change the view of a specific part. So I want to, but what I want to show you guys is that I can actually have an interactiveness. What I'm meaning by that is if I change some of the features and functions in this part, let's say for instance, I want to create some cutouts over here. So I'm just going to make it 2 simple circles without adding dimensions, just to show feature and functionality. Just want to take this window. And I want to do a cutout using that sketch feature. So I just want to get back to that. Sorry, I just want to redo that sketch. It doesn't recognize my function now. Again, I want to add a sketch on this plane. Just going to add that circles again. And it will automatically pick up my features over there. And I'm just going to say I want to go through all of it. I just create the basic simple cutout. What I'm actually trying to show you guys is that when I go back to my assembly view, it has already updated that view for me. So it's already part of the assembly. And when I go back to my drawing view as well, just want to find that drawing now. It pretty much updated that cutout as well. So the function of what I was trying to show is that it automatically gets updated back to my drawing. All the changes that has been made on my part or assembly side gets updated back to my drawing. But I don't want to save that now. Another function I want to show you guys, which is very powerful to me, is also in the drawing environment. If I create another drawing view, I want to use the intelligence of my drawing features and functionalities. So opening up my assembly again, just going to create a basic isometric view. I can then from here on, I can change the properties. I can change the scale. So this is a bit small for me. Let's make it half scale. Change the color of this. But what I want to actually show you guys is 2 things. One is I can set up my template that it automatically updates according to my parts property. So this properties gets already pulled in through my my design tables. So from here also as well, I can put on drill cycles, I can put on bill of materials. So what I actually want to pull off the bill of material from that, and I can populate over here. So with a simple click or two, I've created isometric view, pulling a bill of material of all the sub-assemblies that makes part of my. So everything is interactive and communicates. There's a bi-directional communication. So I'm just going to close this off. And then lastly, what I want to show you on the CAD side before we go back to presentations again is pretty much I can, if I have the advanced packages of SolidWorks, I have access to a tool which we called design libraries, a toolbox where I can access different features and functions. So I can have access to nuts, O-rings, power transmitters, washers, but it doesn't just stop there. It actually goes a little bit further, because if I take, let's say for instance, I want to add a bolt to one of these top holes. Just want to get to the right one. It will actually, let's say for instance, if I use that bolt over there and I just hover it over my hole, it will actually take on the properties of that specific feature of that hole. Not, sorry, just let's cancel it again. Just want to get the right. Just wanted to actually recognize that the whole size. I think the reason why it doesn't pick it up now is because I have the full assembly in view. But in theory, what it should do is it should pick up the properties of that hole and then just add the right size. Just to try it one more time. I think there's something wrong with my settings over here. But in theory, then it should pick up the right size for that hole. You can see it's trying to think. No, sorry guys, today doesn't want to work. But in theory, I should just check with my settings. It should pick up the properties of that hole and it will just put in the right member for me. So going back to our presentation. So, but our portfolio doesn't just stop with SolidWorks as a CAD tool. So SolidWorks also provide a solution which is called SolidWorks Electrical, and it simplifies, give us the opportunity to do. So if we look at the entry-level package of SolidWorks Electrical, we can do electrical schematics that provides a standalone, easy-to-use electrical design system that allows designers and engineers to define electrical interconnections of complex electrical systems. Then we have a package which is called Electrical 3D. It allows for the development of schematically defined electrical systems in a 3D environment. So I can integrate it back to the SolidWorks portion of the business. And I have that the 3D interactiveness where I can get wire lengths, the line diagrams, line diagrams of my lines. And then I have a package called Professional, which combines the two for the 3D technology and also the schematics in one single window. As Marius has also mentioned, we have a tool called Design Validation, where we can actually do simulations on our engineering design before we actually have to build this. But we will do a more in-depth demonstration on what simulation is about in tomorrow's presentation. Some of the additional tools that I want to show you guys is two tools that we aid our customers in designing and taking the design further into production, into the production environment or into the customer environment. So the first tool I want to discuss with you guys is a composer. So this allows us to assist with taking our 3D data and communicate back to our customers or our vendors or the guys on the shop floor that actually machine or manufacture this stuff. So I can do assembly instructions with this tool. I can do service documentation. I can do educational documentation if I need to. So I can create part catalogs. So for instance, if I in a motor industry and someone wants to order a specific part from me, I can create those catalogs. I can do assembly instructions for some of my customers as well. So if I'm in the supply industry and someone purchased one of my products, I can create these instructions for them to assemble the model they just bought from me. Another tool is the SolidWorks Visualize. And as you can see on this image, we have two drill sets. The one is actually a real photo, and one of them is a visualized render that was created in SolidWorks Visualize. So I want you to think by yourself if you can see which one will be the render and which one will be the actual real part. So in essence, the one on the left was actually a SolidWorks model. So as you can see, our real and photorealistic our renders are. Another example is this blender, as in the previous example. Try to see if you can notice the differences between the two and if you can actually guess which one is the render and which one is the model. This time, the one on the right was the model. So again, very, very realistic. Another tool I want to touch base on is a product called SolidWorks CAM. So what CAM allows us to do is to take our designs into the shop floor. We manufacture these parts. So once the designer has finished with his design, we send it off to the workshop, and now the CNC programmer can actually start putting on machining on this. So I want to show you guys how this would look like in real life. So this is the design that has been brought from the design office, and I was instructed to manufacture this fixing bracket. So as you can see, by the click of one button, it automatically recognizes all the features, pockets, and features inside this part. So with a predefined tool list and a predefined work structure, it's recognizing pretty much exactly pre-thought what I want to do with this part, and it started calculating its own tool paths based on my predefined settings and tools on that specific machine. I can go a step further. I can simulate what I've just selected to make sure if this is actually the correct cycles and the path I want to follow. And then I can take this right back to machining. And as you can see, it will generate a specific tool part for me. And then on the small window, you can actually see how the cycle, the tools will actually move manufacturing those parts. As in the final image, you can always see that we only not just have machining, or as we call a machine center, but we also have the capability of turning for lathes. So the CNC lathe capabilities is also a big function in 3D SolidWorks CAM. But I'm going to take a bit more time as we want to discuss data management. So our biggest priority these days is data management. So we have a tool as well for data management within the industry, within protecting our intellectual property. So it's a low productivity curve tool, so it's easy to learn. Our return on investment is quick. The interface we are very well known to. It's very much the same as the Windows interface we are used to. And I can configure this. So I can have specific settings that nobody can override my work, or if I'm busy working with someone with a part or an assembly, nobody else can access those data. I can lock it out, as I will show you later in my presentation, that if I'm working with a specific part, nobody else can work with that. I can do version and revision controls. So for my ISO standards, I can have access to that as well, and set this up in a way that a specific part would follow a specific workflow, to be able to, from design right through to manufacturing, make sure we are working on the latest version and everybody has the access to the right portion of that file. I can also have settings from the CADs, from the administrative side. So if I want only specific people in the department or in the industry, not the industry, the factory, to have access to only specific parts of the design, I can set that up as well. So let's say, for instance, procurement only needs to see a model once it has been released. I can set it up like that as well. So it's a bit more, not just a data management tool, but also a managing tool where I can process my flow better through my company. But what does this data management would look like in the design office? So classic as usual, I would save my files local on my project folder or in my PC. But when we work on a local drive, local environment, there's a lot of files and a lot of folders. There's many files that, let's say, for instance, if I don't work with the data management system, if I have an alteration of a specific part or a specific design, I always have to do a save as or a save copy as. So my drive can become full very quickly. Where with a data management tool, I can have the same part, the same file in the location and have different versions or revisions of that part. And what the data management tools allows me to do is only save these changes, but I'm still able to roll back to my previous versions as well. So 6 months down the line, my manager would come back to me and said, listen, I need that first design that we had in the beginning. I can always roll back and go back to that as well. But this is not just a question of my machine or PC is getting full or someone is overwriting my work. It's also protecting intellectual property. I want to keep my data to myself. I don't want some of my competitors or whatever to see my intellectual property. And that is why I will need to use a proper data management tool to do so. So in the past, like I said, we used to save data like this, or we have communicated parts and features to our colleagues or to our customers via email, but there's no traceability, and there's no solution to follow who's using what, who's overriding whose work. And we get to a point where we manufacture parts and assemblies that is out of date, or it's the wrong version, or the wrong platform that we actually use to share these communications as well. But what if we can save this just not locally? We can also save this on a specific cloud, which is called the 3D Experience Platform, which has been designed to help SolidWorks users. So this is a chance that creates new possibilities for productivity, collaboration, and more innovation. So if you're saving your data to a server on the 3D Experience platform, you can take full advantages of the cloud. So let's take a look at some of these benefits. So back into my SolidWorks, I will create a simple part. And I'm going to create a drawing as well, as I showed you guys previously. So when I save this, I can now save it to the cloud platform. So this allows me not saving locally, but I can save it to a data secure repository on the cloud, which I'll show you the interface a bit later. So once I'm saving this back to the cloud, I have an integrated view of my data. So it's a link between the data and my CAD window, which I just created the data in. So if I'm opening up this assembly from the cloud, I can have the capability of locking this file. So I don't want my co-worker or the co-designer to open up or be able to access this assembly with me. So I'm just going to lock it out. And then just utilizing normal CAD tools, as you can see, these assembly and sub-assemblies has been locked out by me. I can have access to see what revision I'm in. So nobody else can access this part now and work on that. So this allows me then to bring it into assembly using normal assembly features and functions, bringing in the new part, and it automatically creates those file references for me. So it remembers the links and what parts work with each other. I'll explain that later in the platform interface. So nobody can override my work. Nobody, my work can't get redundant. So if something happens to a local file server, a break-in or a fire, God forbid, let that happen. But let's say, for instance, something happened to your file server. You have access to that files within just getting a new PC, log in, and you have access. So the risk of losing your intellectual property is way less. So let's replace all those file sharing tools with one unified cloud storage location, the 3D Experience platform. So as you work on to save on a central location, rather than sending zip files through emails or uploading copies to Dropbox, you can just share a link with your partners, customers, co-workers. Again, in the platform, I can do lifecycle management and revision control as well. So just by simply accessing that part, I can have a revision update just by using the simple features and functions. So I want to bump up this revision. And as you can see in the preview update, it will update automatically. There we go. And it is bumped it up to revision 8.2. So I can always, once I'm finished with changing all this fillets and angles, I can always roll back to a specific revision if I need to. So the history has been kept, my revision has been updated. And as you can see, from here, I can then decide, okay, I can change the maturity state of this. So what this means is it has been done in manufacturing. I want to move it to something like a released, where now procurement or manufacturing department can have access to the files which they have previously have been locked out to. So I'm happy with this, and I've decided to freeze this part. So nobody can access this at all anymore. It's been out for production. So the whole work cycle I just explained to you guys is just to show that I can have full control over from design to finish who have access to what parts and what folders in this assembly. So before I'm going to close out, I want to share you quickly. I've been mentioning briefly that we have a tool, the 3D Experience platform. So I want to show you guys what's it about, because I would like you to learn from us what this is about. So as you can see, this is the a window-based interface, a web browser-based interface. And it's pretty much almost, let's call it a Facebook for CAD if you want to. Very interactive. You will have access to your specific dashboard. Every client will get his own, and VAR will get his own dashboard. If you have more clients that you work with, you can have access to these dashboards as well. We have a simple two simple tools that we're going to get, which we call cloud services. So let's take one of that for an example. If you as a customer or a VAR will have specific roles assigned to you, and inside those specific roles, you will have access to specific apps. So in that specific apps, you will have access to all this. So you will be able to create your own tabs, your own dashboards, and it's by just adding a new tab over here, and you can pretty much just drag and drop this into. So this is fully customizable for each customer as his proposal. But I don't want to bore you with that details. I want to go to a very high level overview of what I have done with this tool in a short window of time. So let's say, for instance, I'm a project manager. I would create myself a tab, and I would have a high level overview of this. But this is the tool. This is the project I'm currently working with. I can have section views on this. I can do measure markups if I need to. I can measure distances. I can pretty much have an exploded view. So without using a CAD tool, I can pretty much see, okay, this is what we are dealing with. This is where we're working at. This is a specific part. So it's very interactive. Without opening up or having a cloud tool installed on my machine, I can actually interact with the model we are busy working with. So from a project planning point of view, I can have a bird's eye overview of what's happening with my projects. I can see what tasks will be at risk. I can see what task has been assigned to what user. And by simply, let's say, for instance, this task has been assigned to me, I can simply just drag and drop it to InWork. It will automatically bump up my progress. It will automatically notify my users that, listen, you have a task that you need to attend to, which I would then link to a specific schedule. So I as a project planner would then build up this schedule according to my task assigned to my users. And I have full control of who access in my team, who have access to this. And then we always in the company would use this tool, which is called the 3D swim tool. So this is where the punctuation for Facebook for CAD has come into, because this is a tool where we can pretty much add posts, add notes, comments, videos, photos. I can add a server in my company, and everybody in my company would have then access to this, which I give access to. And then let's say, for instance, someone has asked me, what do you think about this design? We need to find a new laser. From here, I can type comments. I can add a colleague. I can mention someone. So it's very interactive and live. What I mean by live is once I get that, I've noticed myself now, but when you notice someone else's, you will then get a notification that Jaco has commented and give feedback on this idea of ours. Please have a look at it. So it's a very good communication tool that we will use inside our company. Then one of my favorite tools, it's a repository where I pretty much the files I work with currently, I bring into my bookmarks. So it's an overview to see what I'm busy with. It gives me a high level overview of what the assemblies are. Is it in the last revision? What is the revision's name? Who's the current owner of that file? So it pretty much gives me a bird's eye overview as well as what I'm working with. But again, I can have simple view and measure capable functionalities without opening up that part or assembly. Or alternatively, let's say, for instance, what I also like to use this tool for is I want to see before I do any changes on this head, like I just did on that bracket. Before I do any changes, I want to see, but listen, before I do any change, is there anything that's going to be affected? Because sometimes we do changes or we alternate the part before thinking of what changes or what effects is it going to do upstream or downstream. So yeah, I can see, okay, this is actually part of my main tool. And before I can do changes to this, there's actually 43 parts that is actually also linked to this. And I can have an overview said, okay, if I change something on this assembly, there's going to be some of these parts or sub-assemblies can be affected for that. So it's a very nice tool to use and to see, okay, if I change anything, is something going to change? But the platform is not just for CAD files, not just for CAD tools. So what about my sales reps and the guys on the shop floor? What if they need to order something? So we can always have a PDF files. You can bring in images. You can bring in videos, and from here on, I can have interactive discussions. Markups to my reps, to my customers. So it's not just a tool just for CAD. The tool I like to use often is any company have issues, any production line, any engineering shop have different issues. I would create a simple issue. I can assign it to someone. I can assign it to a team member. I can assign all the properties. I can link different files, different images with it. So the guy who works with the issue or downstream in that team would be fully aware what is happening with this issue. And taking a step further, as the project engineer or a project manager, I can drill down to, okay, where is this issue lie on my current project? What is it about? With a preview, click of a button, I can pretty much see, okay, this is where the issue lie. And once I highlight the issue over here, I can see, oh, okay, this is the issue, go back, still in the to-do state, who's the responsible person. So it's also a tool to gauge what is happening with my project. But what happens now, I don't know if you guys can remember in the past, if you have a design or an assembly and you need to report back to management what is happening with this, you always used to bring in a CAD guy into the office and said, bring in your PC, show us the files, zoom here, rotate there, and you would take one technical guy out of production for a day just for the design reviews. Now we have a tool where we can do it on hand. I can do measures, I can do markups, I can put notes. So I can take this file back to our 3D Experience swim community, as I explained before, and everybody can see, okay, this hose clamp needs to be in stainless steel, but it just doesn't stop there. I can have assembly instructions with intelligence. I can bring in the part number, the name, the size. I can actually decide what I want to bring in over here. I can have instructions. These areas needs to be maintained, and I can actually build myself a workbook, like a video or animation. So let's say, for instance, if I have a workshop, somebody needs to work in the assembly line, I can create them in an animation and say, this is how it works. Please make sure this happens. So plonk a iPad on each machine, and they would continue. Again, this tool gets extended as well. Not just it's not just for CAD tools, but for my other members in the team as well. I can have intelligent notes. Let's say, for instance, I manufacture this rubber, but we only have currently 3 sizes. I can give them, okay, this is the primary one, this is the secondary one, and this is the final one. Don't use the others. So again, very interactive, very easy to use tools. And then people always ask me, so, but this is fine, but where do I store my data? Where do I go from here? So all our files, as you've seen, the files we worked on, get saved in a platform, and currently it's a very flat structure, also customizable. I can decide how I want to see this. But what I like about this is I have flexibility of different features and functions. What I meant by that is I can change my life cycles from here as well if I have to correct permissions. So this Windows, as explained before, is fully customizable. I can have a 3D play window if I want over here. So this is pretty much the way I like the setup, and I can now control, okay, what do I do with this specific part from here? And this is a very high level overview of the 3D Experience platform, what the interface look like, what it can do. I think I just touched a very, it's like a drop in the bucket of what all the features and functions. But the point I'm trying to make, it's intuitive, very interactive, easy to use, easy to set up. You don't need a high-end computer to use this because everything is in the cloud. So storage is not a problem, as we will explain in tomorrow's demonstrations as well, that you can even do your computing inside the cloud. And the last tool I want to show you guys is a 2D tool called DraftSite. So we have different versions and options for DraftSite or 2D CAD users. So very simple interactive interface, very basic to use, and pretty much it's very interactive with DWG files, 2D and 3D. So I can have access, create, and share. As you can see, I always have access to my platform as well. So I can create, share, and edit all the .dwg files that I need to supply or get from my customers. And pretty much this is my presentation for today. I want to thank you guys for attending and pay attention. And I would like to hand over now back to Azamat again as we go into questioning.
Jaco, before we do that, Azamat, sorry for interrupting you. Maybe I can share my screen and show 2 or 3 slides again, just adding to what Jaco said. I wasn't planning on showing it, but I think it makes a lot of sense to bring all these pieces together. So just indulge me for 5 minutes if you don't mind, Azamat.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm just trying to open the screen. Okay, I'm sharing my screen and I'll go here and I'll go into presenters mode. Say duplicate slides. Okay, you should be seeing it. Good. So effectively what Jaco showed you now with using the cloud for document control, data management, cloud revisioning, sharing and marking up. We call this cloud services. There's much more than just the cloud services, like doing renderings, running simulations in the cloud, but the base layer of the 3D Experience platform is called cloud services, and it consists of 3 roles. But the functionality that the 3 roles provide you is what Jaco has shown you now, where you can share your design with people inside and outside of your organization, so you can control that without having to send them the actual file. So the IP behind that still sits with you. You can use the cloud services to store your data and to drive revision control, but then also take it to the next layer, which is complete management and control of your data. So from effective 1 July 2023, so in about 10 days from today, every desktop CAD, SolidWorks CAD seat bought from Dassault Systems through our reseller partners will be accompanied by cloud services. And the cloud services will allow you to do these things that you see on the screen. And if I can quickly summarize to you what we mean with share and markup, it means that you do a design and you want to get the input from maybe a supplier, a customer, a subcontractor, internal party, external party. Those parties don't have to have SolidWorks installed on their computer. All they need is an internet connection. Effectively, you share an HTML link with them. They need an internet connection. It's browser-based. They click on the link. They can see the complete design, and they cannot edit the design, but they can mark up the design. So they can annotate it, they can review it, they can turn it around upside down and make comments and share those comments in a controlled environment back to you. So you can never lose control over your actual design, and you can determine who you want to share the content with through a secured link. So some companies may use cloud services purely for this, but then other companies may say, whilst there is more capabilities available as on the cloud services, I want to take it to the next level and use it for cloud storage and revision control. And you save all your data up in the cloud, no need for expensive hardware, servers, fallback mechanisms, IT administrators, server rooms, and all those expensive hidden costs associated with that. And while storing the data on the cloud, also having the ability to control the revisions, locking certain files that you are working on to make sure that nobody else can override that. There's only a single version of truth, and that you can actually assign, like Jaco said, tasks to different people to follow up, and you can constantly track the status against those tasks that you've assigned. Some customers may push this needle up even into the third quadrant that we're showing here, which is saying, I want to manage and control. So not just store, share, mark up, and do revision control, but I actually want to take it to the next level and build in a workflow to control the approvals needed on a typical project, and build those workflows and processes in there. Having the ability to capture and track changes and issue management, like Jaco said, and he actually showed this as well. So effective 1 July, every CAD seat, whether it's a perpetual license of SolidWorks or it's a pay-per-use rental license of SolidWorks, automatically comes with cloud services. Cloud services consist of these three base layer roles that allows you to manage and control your data in the cloud, do revision control, share it with others, having the ability to mark up or control, assign tasks, build in workflows, and do revisioning as well. So that's why we feel compelled to give you a high-level overview of cloud services. But cloud services is not the be-all and end-all of the 3D experience platform. It's just the entry level and layer to the 3D experience platform. There's much more to it, but I need to elaborate on what cloud services is, seeing that after 1 July, every desktop CAD seat automatically comes with this, and this is available to you. So it's important that you're aware of the additional functionality you have at your hands. Thank you, Azamat.
Thank you, Marius. And here we go with the questions. And I want to remind you that you can all write your questions in chat and we'll answer them. So the first question is to ADCC. Ivy, Brian, do you plan to come to Uganda? If so, when?
Hi, thank you for the question. Currently, we're based in Kenya, but if there are projects going on, we are able to fly out our team to Uganda. We are hoping to branch out to East Africa with time. So yeah, we'll be able to reach out to you, Derek. You can also reach out to us for more details on the same. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, I want to say that we invited people not just from Kenya, but also from other English-speaking African countries. And I hope there are many guys from Uganda too. So next question from Eric about hardware startups. The agile product development approach brings faster iteration and unrivaled collaboration to encourage more exploration of design possibilities. How does SolidWorks encourage agile product development where faster iterations are required? Are you offering any SaaS native cloud tools? Yeah, if we're talking about SaaS native cloud tools, it's part of our platform, 3D Experience. And yeah, maybe someone wants to share deeper about X-Design.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll start the conversation, then Jaco can chip in. So yes, one of my slides showed that we do support startup companies, just to be sure that when I mean entrepreneurs and startups, it's not necessarily hardware startups, it's entrepreneurs that designs a product to be manufactured, to go into market, sell that, and run a business from selling the manufactured solution. So it's not geared at a hardware startup necessarily or a consultancy. But that aside, the question more relates to SaaS native cloud tools. So yes, in the 3D Experience platform, we have a lot of SaaS solutions, whether it is rendering or it is simulation that uses solvers and give you access to a whole lot of core capabilities to do those renderings and simulations and faster iterations. For example, if you talk about simulation, by default, your entry-level Simulia role in the 3D Experience platform will give you access to running on 16 cores your simulation. But then depending on your urgency, the size of your model, you can buy additional tokens that gives you access up to 100 cores of solving capability that will produce you a faster answer, for example. And the same for rendering, depending on the size of the model, the design, the quality required will also determine if any additional tokens needs to be purchased. So all the solutions are cloud solutions. Some of them are 100% cloud native. Some of them are cloud connected, where it's still a local install, but through a connector, it's linked to the 3D Experience platform. But we have pure cloud native solutions as well. And that is for CAD as well, where typically in the ideation stage, where you still flesh out a few ideas, you can work directly in the cloud and start publishing those ideas and set the base layer for a design through 3D Creator, 3D Sculpture, freeform modeling, sub-D modeling. So the answer is yes. And there's different layers of it as well, from entry all the way to advanced. Jaco, anything to add there?
No, Maurice, I think you pretty much summed it up very well.
Yeah, so I added a link and shared now this in chat for application for startups for our licenses. So if you're a startup, you can apply, or also you can request and ask ADCC to create request for you. So both ways are good. And if you are a startup, then you can apply for free licenses by this link. We have one more question about draft site. And we will have presentation dedicated to draft site tomorrow. So join us for more details about it. But yeah, probably you can answer it now. So draft site, does it have flexibility with layers like AutoCAD?
Yes, so it's pretty much, it can be layered, it can be propertied, it can be colored. It's all the features, functionalities, it's exactly the same. It's just a very more lightweight solution than AutoCAD is.
Maybe to add on there to that question, Azamat, is the fact that we learn tomorrow that we get different versions of draft site, from draft site professional to premium to enterprise plus, and some of those are standalone applications, and some of those are network floating applications, which means that more than one user can actually share a license. And that is something very unique to draft site compared to Autodesk and AutoCAD not having the ability for that license to be shared any longer between different users, as their model is a named user model and ours is still a perpetual license environment.
Yeah, thank you. So if you have no more questions, then we will end the call for today. But if you have, so please write it as fast as possible. So I want to remind you that tomorrow at the same time as we begin today at 11 a.m. Nairobi time, we will start our second day, and tomorrow it will be about simulation solutions and draft site. Also, we will ask one of representative of SolidWorks user groups from Africa to explain how it works and how you can join SolidWorks user groups in your country or create it for your city or your country. So join us tomorrow at 11 a.m. And also I want to remind to everyone who was not joining us for today but registered, you will receive a recording of this video. And yeah, thanks for registering, thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
Thank
See
you
you
all.
tomorrow.
Thank you.